Hey everybody, welcome back to Havoc Maker Studio and FMP Wargamers. My name is John. I am the host, the only host, on both of these channels. The previous fellow commentators, I guess you would call it, Ski, myself, obviously, well, not myself because I'm still here, but Ski, Ben, and Jonathan over on FMP Wargamers are off doing some amazing things with their lives. They've got their own jobs and then creating businesses, gaming stores on top of that. A lot going on. So I'm here in the trenches, still holding down the fort. They'll be back someday for FMP Wargamers, but for right now, you get to deal with me. In that regards, I've got a bunch of housekeeping stuff, but it would be about 6 or 7 minutes because this is like my fifth video trying to do this. I don't want to talk about all the housekeeping, with the exception that there is going to be some podcasts and collaborations between some YouTubers and myself that will really, I'm going to be honest, it's going to help expand my subscriber base. And if, by the way, if you're not a subscriber, there's that red button down below. Go ahead and click on it. And if you don't have an account, I get it. It's a pain in the butt to have all these accounts, but you don't have to pay for YouTube unless you want to. And you can unsubscribe from any notifications that they send you, with the exception of, once you subscribe here, make sure you have the little bell down there so you get notified of these videos. Especially when I'm highlighting other YouTubers, there's some great content out there for whatever game you're playing or for whatever paint styles you like to do, whatever lore videos, that sort of thing. It's all out there. And I'm going to try to get you connected to them as much as possible if you're not already. So that those subscribe buttons really help us out. And it does, in a way, help you out because you get notified. So some collaborations coming down the line. They're going to happen. Don't know when. I'm thinking March. March is when they're going to kick off, probably going into April. So besides that, what do we hear about today? Well, I don't have a hot take. I was going to call it a hot take, but this isn't a hot take. This is an analysis. I know I've been accused of doing hot takes, whether jokingly or like, haha, that's a hot take, John. Just kind of, little friendly ribbing, or the mean, sarcastic hot take that some people have said, which I'm like, oh no, you're being rude to me. Oh, what am I gonna do? That's sarcasm. But that's sarcasm. Yeah, that's sarcasm. Anyways, this is not a hot take. This is an analysis. This is just crunching some basic numbers and highlighting something and possible fixes and speculations. So let's talk about what Atomic Mass Games is doing wrong right now. Oh my God, John just said that they're doing something wrong. What are you going to do? Well, I don't get paid by Atomic Mass Games or Marvel or anybody else, so I can afford to not badmouth them, but give a critical analysis without having to suck up. Now, that might mean that I will never get free stuff or acknowledgement or, hey, John, we want to collaborate with you, that sort of thing. Fine. I'm not asking for that. I don't want it. I buy giveaways and stuff like that to give away to you guys. That all comes from me. If they were to give me stuff to give to you, ooh, that would be awesome, but I'm not asking for it. And that's why I can talk about these things and say things like, okay, Atomic Mass Games has an issue. But John, you're digressing. What is the issue? That's what you're asking me. Well, they have a disparity. They have a horrible imbalance with the game right now. And now I know some people are like, whoa, hold on, John, hold on. No, you hold on. Please listen, that this game, that I've repeatedly said that this game is a well-balanced, well-organized game. The company is on point. And I've said before that other companies like Games Workshop, Privateer Press, RIP, and Warlord Games, and a lot of these other companies out there, they need to use Atomic Mass Games as, I would almost say, the gold standard on quality of miniatures, the price point to get into the game, the ease of being able to play the Marvel Crisis Protocol game, the complexity and the simplicity. All right, because it's both, but it's so well balanced as opposed to other games. It's really putting a lot of those big game companies that have been out for decades to shame. That what they've done in one release, one core box set release, has just blown the other ones out of the water. And that also goes for, Heavy Gear, BattleTech, all those, everything. Now, some of those games I mentioned do have they're relatively balanced, but they do have their issues. I've talked about it at length before about Games Workshop, and I've got a future video coming out about Games Workshop, and yeah, I'm going to be kicking them while they're down. But we're focusing on this. What is the issue? The issue is the number of heroes, villains, and both the characters and the team affiliations. So they've got 110 characters out right now. Now, that's not 110 models. That's 110 characters. I'm not including the alternate versions. Like there's 2 different versions of Iron Man right now, but it's the same, 2 different models, but the same character. Same thing with Dr. Octopus. Same thing with Spider-Man. And I'm not counting the dual models, say like Ant-Man and Wasp or the Hood. Even though those are 2 different models, it's the same character. So I'm not counting those. There's 110 characters. And my numbers, if for some reason with the math I've done, very basic math, I could have screwed it up, let me know in the comments below. But there's 110 characters out right now. 18 affiliations. We're going to get into this. And there's a huge disparity in between the 2 groups. Now, I know somebody out there right now is like, John, but dude, this game allows you to ally heroes and villains together, just like they do in the comic books. You can have the Red Skull in the Avengers. You can have Captain America and the Brotherhood of Mutants. You can do that. Yes, you can. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is looking at the characters, what you guys are seeing on the screen here, looking at those characters in their current costumes, who the character is, when they're released, who they're released alongside of. So, for example, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. They were released alongside Magneto and Toad with the Brotherhood of Mutants. Bad guys. Those costumes that they have, even though there's some variations that have come out over the years, some similarities, that was their first incarnation when they came out as bad guys alongside Magneto. Yes, they're in the Avengers, and I think, if I remember correctly, Scarlet Witch is in A-Force. Quicksilver joins the Dark Avengers at one point. So I think it was Quicksilver joined. It sure as heck looked like him. So I'm not taking into account all those different variations, just based off of what we're getting when it's released. So whether you agree with my numbers or not, I think the numbers, and I'm going to show you those numbers. Actually, we're just going to show those numbers right now. There's only a minute percent difference if we take into account a couple of the characters. So let's take a look at those numbers. So the current state of the game has 110 characters, and current heroes, we have 65 heroes, 42 villains, and 3 rogue agents. Those are characters that can be on any team and count as that team affiliation. That's Winter Soldier, Taskmaster, and Punisher currently. We might have other characters coming out later on that have Rogue Agent, but I don't expect there to be too many. Now, with those current heroes, let's take a look at those numbers. We have 110 characters, and if my math is wrong, please go ahead and put it in the comments below. They might be off by 1% or 2, but it's insignificant to the total, unless my total is way off. So 65 total heroes out of 110 characters puts us at 59, basically 60% of total characters. That is a huge number. Now, we look at current villains, it's 42 total out of 110, 38% of the total characters. That is a significant difference between the number of heroes and villains. Now, there's only 3 rogue agents that make up 3%. It's like 3.4. I think 3.4, maybe 3.5 of the total characters. I think that number right there is accurate. So you might be thinking, well, John, 21% is not really a big deal. It's not a big gap. Um, yeah, I mean, I can see where 21% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is in when you're looking at the total number of characters. And let me give it to you in a different way. 65 heroes and 42 villains. We're not talking about rogue agents. So that's a difference of 23 heroes to villains. 23. My math right here, I'm pretty sure I'm using, and mind you, I'm not using Common Core, so I'm not dividing by an apple and carrying, a question mark with an asterisk to get all variable different totals. I'm just using basic non-racist math. We're just talking about subtracting 65 from 42. And if for some reason I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. So 23 heroes to difference between those and the villains, that's even a bigger number. That is over half of how many villains are available right now. That's over half, guys. Over half. That would be 21. I mean, yeah, it's like two over. So that is a huge difference. So that 20% now, or 21% now, in perspective, is a much bigger number. And it doesn't just stop there. When we got all these different affiliations, let's take a look at that. So we have a total of 18 affiliations. I am not counting unaffiliated. Yes, I put it on there. There's only, I think, 2 characters that counts as unaffiliated. At least I think it might need to get updated. But I'm not including it because it's not really a team affiliation that can. I guess if I wanted to include it, it would not really adjust that percentage at all. So forget about that. Forget about where it says 2 total. I messed that up. That's not supposed to say that. So current hero teams are 12. Current villain teams, 6. 18 total team affiliations. For the heroes, that makes up 66% of the number of teams out there versus the 34% of teams available for the villains. That's basically, was that 32%? Let's just say 33%. Basically by over 1/3 more, however you want to word that. That's huge. These are huge numbers at the end of the day. And yes, those affiliations, when you look at the team affiliation list on their webpage, those rosters are huge and they're always growing as new characters grow out. But when you are taking into account that and the difference in characters, this is an issue. This is an issue that is going to just keep getting bigger and bigger as more characters come out. Because as every 2 villains that come out, there's going to be 1 or 2 heroes. So yeah, they might eventually close that gap, but we're talking maybe 2 years if they go kind of along with the line with their current formula. That's not healthy. Now, are they required to do that? No, but there's a common sense in regards to a balancing game. Is it always going to be 100% distributed heroes and villains? No, it's going to fluctuate, but that's going to be like a small percentage, maybe 2 or 3%, maybe even 5% difference every few releases. Okay, not a big deal, but right now a 21% difference in the number of characters, that's an issue that needs to get talked about. So how do we fix it? I don't know. My only suggestion is that they go for maybe a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 release for the future. And I've got a couple ideas coming up here, so just stay with me. They can do like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. So for every 2 villains, there's 1 hero, or more likely 3 villains to 1 hero until they can get that balance out. Are they required to? No. And I'm not talking about alternate sculpts for existing models where they use the same card. I'm just saying new characters. Now, who do we talk to? I think I was starting to say it. Maybe it was one of the other 5 takes I tried to do this video. If you have a hotline to like Will Pagini or Andrew or any of those people over there, let them know that, and mind you, yes, they might know, but you don't know that they know or that they don't know. So by dropping a line going, hey man, I don't know if you noticed this, but this dude, John, over at Havoc Maker Studio, which thanks for the shout out, by the way, pointed out the percentage differences in the number of villains, not only the heroes or the models and characters, but also the team affiliations. Drop them a line. Go, guys, this needs to get addressed. And I've got something for you guys to jump on that might help out. Now you guys might be like, oh, what about my favorite team, man? What about Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts? Yeah. Well, slow your roll. We'll get there eventually. But you're on the right track, and I love your enthusiasm. Now, let's really get into what I want to talk about is who are the most viable villains and teams. There are a lot of characters out there that have not been done. They've got, I think it's like 3,000 some odd characters. That's heroes and villains before we get into civilians. They got a huge roster. I could be wrong the number. For some reason, I want to say it's like 7,200, but I might be thinking of something else. So let's say 3,000 characters. There's a lot to do. So how do they pick the best one? I think the best option is for them to select characters that can get multiple team affiliations and also be great to come out as a initial team, like their own team. And then, oh, that guy can be on not only this team and this team, or just one team that's already out, one team affiliation that's already out, but they're already marked for a future affiliation because of that. Those are the models I think are the most viable. So what are my selections? Well, my first one is an oldie but a goodie. Now, there are, I think, 12 different variations of the Masters of Evil. Now, my focus is really going to be on the one set of Masters of Evil that had the most significant success against the Avengers and an impact in the Marvel Comics universe. So, and it kind of relates to at least one character that's available right now. So there's two variations of Baron Zemo. Now, Baron Zemo, there's Heinrich, who's the original from way back in the day, like World War II. And then there's Helmut. He is the current one that's available in the core box and the current one running around, or Falcon Winter Soldier, that whole thing. And he had assembled, I think, the fourth, fifth, and sixth iteration of the Masters of Evil. Now, what's significant about this is the number of characters that have overlap. So, Baron Zemo will become, I think, Citizen 5, I think is his name, for the Thunderbolts. Goliath and Moonstone, which are pictured on the left-hand side. They're in the top back corner. They take on different roles in the Thunderbolts. So there's a number of characters there that can fit the Masters of Evil and the Thunderbolts. Awesome already. So we got 3 characters that can be in that roster. Now, there's a couple other characters that are in both of those images right there that were in the Masters of Evil that also have their own crew. So now we're getting a double crew, and some of these characters are going to be coming up in the She-Hulk TV show. So this is significant. So the roster is huge. So what I'm going to go off with is this is when a number of things, they were trying to separate the Avengers and attack them and capture them. And it was probably one of the best plans. And it was one of the most, I think, horrifying things that happened in the comics, because Jarvis was brutalized and Hercules was near death. Now, we haven't seen Hercules in the game, but he will very likely come out. And I'm hoping he'll have the classic costume versus current costume. Anyways, he was beaten within an inch of his life. Now, this roster includes, obviously, Baron Zemo, Absorbing Man, Titania, the Wrecking Crew, which is Thunderball, Pile Driver, Bulldozer, and the Wrecker, Tiger Shark, Yellow Jacket, Goliath, Moonstone, and Mr. Hyde. And one other, the Fixer, I believe, is the other one, or it might be the wizard or the fixer. And these characters, a lot of these characters are going to come into play in a little bit. Actually, I think Masters of Evil would probably be the best because it is a true die in the wool, well-known super team that's gone through, or super villain team has gone through many iterations. There's one that was led by Ultron. I think Red Skull had his own version. There was the Young Masters of Evil. So, or they might have been called the Young Masters of Evil. Regardless, this is probably the best team because there are at least 3 different crossover villain affiliations and superhero affiliations when the Thunderbolts were bad and then Thunderbolts became good. So I think right now Masters of Evil is definitely on my top list. Let's get into my next one. And this is actually going to be the last one because this is going to be a part 2. We're going to do part 2 and part 3 because this is a lot to cover. So the Wrecking Crew. So bringing over the Wrecking Crew from the Masters of Evil, I think is really super ideal. Now, if you're not familiar with the Wrecking Crew, starting to the center left, there's the Wrecker, the guy with the big old crowbar. He got powered up. His crowbar got magicked by Loki. Something happened later on, and the other 3 guys in the center there with him, got a little bit of a magic juice up that put them all at least 3 or about 2 to 3 times stronger than the average Asgardian, which is like 2 or 3 times stronger than the average human, with the exception of Piledriver, the guy with the red and white costume in the front center right of the screen. He's like about 4 or 5 times more powerful than an Asgardian. I mean, he's really super strong, dense bones, the whole works. So anyway, so we got the Wrecker. I already pointed out who Piledriver was, and right behind Piledriver, the guy with the big metal helmet, is a Bulldozer. And then to the left, the guy with the big old ball and chain, right behind the Wrecker, is Thunderball, Dr. Elliot Franklin, who's, I think, if I remember correctly, helped create the powers for the other guys. So really awesome crew there because they all can also be in the Masters of Evil. They are villains for pretty much the Avengers and Asgardians, and a little bit of Spider-Man in some sense, and even I think Miss Marvel had a run-in with the Wrecker. So really ideal. I think this is an ideal team. Now, mind you, in the back right, Titania and Crusher Creed, the Absorbing Man, not official members of the Wrecking Crew, but they have worked alongside the Wrecking Crew enough. I wanted to include them because they can fill in on that roster and they can join over on the Masters of Evil. So even if we push off the Absorbing Man and Titania, and the reason why I also bring those 2 up is because Absorbing Man has appeared in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, even though I think that's now not canon. And Titania is about to drop in the She-Hulk television show on Disney Plus, which means that we will likely see Absorbing Man and possibly the Wrecking Crew because they do have some interactions with the She-Hulk. So there's a lot of things that are coming down the line that I think this is the ideal team. And I think it'd be the most fun because they got some great costumes. They're a great, super powerful team. And I think they with all the cross affiliations, they'd be really ideal between them and the Masters of Evil. I think a lot could happen because with the Masters of Evil and the Wrecking Crew, you could have multiple team affiliations over the next 2 years to include the Thunderbolts, which we'll talk about on another day. Now, as I said, there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of characters that we have to take into account. I mean, like I said, we have 110 characters here. We've got about 3,000 more characters to just get through. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. First off, are my numbers right? And what do you think about this analysis? Am I just looking at this wrong, or is 23 more heroes versus villains, not including rogue agents, is that just not who cares? Or, put in another game perspective, imagine playing Warhammer 40,000 and you've got 150 different types of Space Marine units, and then you're playing a Necron, or you like Necrons, and there's only six six units that you can choose from. I mean, it's kind of like what it is now. Not quite that difference in number, but that's very discouraging, and especially when you want to be able to run these villain teams, and you want those villains. It's just, and I get it. You want to have more idealistic heroes out there, but it just seems off, just from a pure numbers point of view. Now, does Atomic Mass Games owe us anything in regards to having a balance? No, but if you want to keep drawing people in, get us those villains. And and I know people are going to be like, we need the Dark Avengers, or we need the Marauders, the not the new Marauders, but the original Marauders, or we need the Reavers, or what about the Skrulls, John? Well, the Skrulls would be really cool, but there's only one really superhero Skrull. They could come out with the Super Skrull and then Skrull Grunts. But those are for some later on videos. I've got a part 2, possibly a part 3, because there's so many villain teams out there that I want to be able to cover them all, especially since they have cross affiliations, just like you see with the Avengers and a lot of characters that are out right now. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I right on the nose, right? Am I on point right now, or am I way off base? And make sure you share this out, because sometimes not everybody sees the video, and it really does help me out, and it does I help everybody else out, because we like to sit there and speculate and go and kind of break down who we would want, fan wish listing, that sort of thing. Let me know what you guys think. Share it out. Hit that subscribe button. And I'll talk to you next time. See you guys later.